There have been some MLB players who've been the nicest players in MLB history. For example, Derek Jeter or Ichiro Suzuki. But then there are other MLB players who, even though they had good careers, they weren't such nice guys off the field. So today, I'm going to be going through 4 of the worst teammates in MLB history. Before I start though, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell and leave a like on this video. But without further ado, let's get into number 4, Manny Ramirez. Now you guys, Manny Ramirez, even though he had a great career, like I said, he wasn't such a nice guy. Now, when he was on the Red Sox, stuff started out really good, as when the Red Sox gave him a 7-year contract with over $100 million, Manny Ramirez ended up helping the Red Sox get their first World Series win in over 80 years. But he did have a lot of field problems when he was on defense. But here was the problem with Manny Ramirez then. Suddenly, Manny Ramirez said he was unhappy with the Red Sox front office, so he stopped playing. But then when he came into the batter's box, he quote-unquote wasn't trying, as basically what he did is that he refused to swing and would either strike out looking or earn a walk. So Manny Ramirez basically was quitting on his team. And this really reminds me of the black scandal the Boston Red Sox had back in Shoeless Joe Jackson times. Basically, the Red Sox were losing on purpose just so that some of their players, like Shoeless Joe Jackson, he was losing on purpose just to win $10,000. But yeah, so Manny Ramirez, he's definitely up there for one of the worst teammates because he had no team chemistry and thought it would be a good idea to just quit on his team. Coming in at number 3, Sammy Sosa. This is where we get to drugs and steroids now. Like with Manny Ramirez, Sammy Sosa started off really good, as when the Chicago Cubs before Sammy Sosa, they were not a good team. But when Sammy Sosa came, pretty much everything changed for them. Not only was Sammy Sosa one of the best players in his time, but he helped the Cubs make it to the playoffs. Of course, they didn't win the World Series, but still, helping them make it to the playoffs is good enough for one player who is really good. So Sammy Sosa really helped out a lot. But when they realized that not only was Sammy Sosa taking steroids, but he also had cork in his bat, stuff changed a lot. As the owner, Tom Ricketts, said that he would not welcome Sammy Sosa to the Chicago Cubs. The only way he would, though, is if he said he was sorry for what he did. And still till today, Sammy Sosa has not apologized. So this basically shows that Sammy Sosa is a selfish man and is a fool for doing this, because already taking drugs is bad for sports, especially to help you get stronger and hit the ball better. For example, in baseball, that's already bad because that's cheating. And then when you try to also put cork in your bat, is even worse. He got caught though, and he got, I believe, like a 10-game suspension. But 10 games is enough, because these days if you take drugs, you can get suspended for like 86 games. You can get suspended for a while. Like Alex Rodriguez, when they found out he was taking drugs, he got suspended for over a season. So yeah, today if you do that, you can get in huge trouble. But players don't have to do that anymore because the balls are juiced. Just throwing that out there. But anyways, yeah, Sammy Sosa, the reason why no one really likes him is because not only he took drugs and steroids, but he's not sorry for what he did. Especially Cubs fans weren't happy. Coming in at number 2, Barry Bonds. I know Giants fans are probably thinking, oh my god, why are you saying this? Bonds is a nice guy. Today, Bonds is way nicer, and he's a guy you want to talk to, hang out with. He's a nice guy. But back at the beginning of Bonds' career, he had some problems getting along with other people. Now, Bonds was a player who was not human when he played baseball. He had 73 home runs in one season. He had 762 career home runs. But when they realized that he was taking steroids, the consequence was that after the 2007 MLB season, no one would sign him, and he'd just retire because of poor free agency market, because no one was signing him. So Bonds just decided, you know what, I'm just going to retire, and people didn't like it at all. They say the real home run leader is Hank Aaron. And to be honest, I think Bonds could have still had a great career without steroids, because starting off in Pittsburgh, this guy was amazing. But it's not just drugs Bonds was dealing with. Bonds was also not nice to some coaches. I could show you the video, but for demonetizing reasons, I'm not going to show it. But I could show you a clip right now of Bonds not being happy with what a reporter asked him.
Next question. The next question, because it was stupid.
You guys are like rerun stories. This is just, it's old stuff. It's like watching Sanford and Son. Just rerun after rerun after rerun.
So yeah, Bonds was not really getting along with reporters, and just when people were asking about steroids, he just didn't want to answer the question. So Bonds didn't want to tell anybody about it, and he did not like the question. But drugs aren't good. Not being nice to reporters aren't good. But coming in at number 1 is Ty Cobb. Now, Ty Cobb goes back to a while ago, probably when your grandparents were kids, because Ty Cobb played like a while ago. And even though he might be the best player in Detroit Tigers history, this guy was an absolute idiot. Because back when there was segregation in his time, he said that he didn't like people who were black that were working there. So Ty Cobb did not like black people back then because of the segregation. But thank goodness, thanks to Martin Luther King, all that changed. But back then, Martin Luther King wasn't alive, so he couldn't really do anything about that. So Ty Cobb, that's already one bad thing, being racist. But not just that, he had bad vibes on the team, and he also hurt a disabled person with no hands because of some unfavorable remarks as he walked by. So Ty Cobb is a guy you wouldn't want to mess with, kind of like a Bill Romanowski. If you mess with him, he'd rip your head off. Well, Ty Cobb, back then when they had spikes on the cleats, he'd spike players, especially when it's a second baseman or first baseman. So not only is this guy one of the dirtiest players in MLB history, but he's also one of the biggest idiots, because he wasn't nice off the field, not even on the field. So he was just straight up not a nice guy. And I bet the Tigers only remember him for what he really did on that team, and that was being good. But if people realize what were the bad things he did, I think people would think twice about liking him. But that is going to be it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. But I will see you all next time. I'm out.